Good morning, everyone. I'm Kishan Shinde. My USN is 1VE20CA010. Studying in Sri Venkateshwara College of Engineering, pursuing my engineering in a course of Computer Science Engineering with Artificial Intelligence. So, today's topic is presentation on types of solar cell materials. So, let's see what is the types of solar cell materials. Before we see what is types of solar cell materials, we'll see what is a solar cell. A solar cell or a photovoltaic cell, solar cell is also known as a photovoltaic cell, is an electric device that converts energy of light directly into electricity by a effect known as photovoltaic effect. A single solar cell looks like this, and several of single solar cell is known as a solar panel, and a bunch of solar panels is known as a solar array. So let's see what are the types of solar cell or photovoltaic cells. So photovoltaic cells materials are made up of two types, that is non-organic and inorganic. In non-organic, there are still divided into two more types, that is silicon and non-silicon. These two consist of three types, that is crystalline, thin films, and concentrated photovoltaic cells. Crystalline consists of monocrystalline silicon and multicrystalline silicon. It is known as SCSI, that is monocrystalline silicon, and MC is multicrystalline silicon. Thin films are of many types, that is amorphous silicon, that is known as ASI, and multi-junction thin film silicon, that is ASI or new CSI. Cadmium telluride, that is known as CDTE, and copper indium diselenide is known as CIS, and copper indium gallium and disendanide is known as CIGS. Concentrated photovoltaic cell is a highly efficient multi-junction solar cells. So these are non-organic solar photovoltaic materials that is made up of these types. And organic are of separate types, that is known as organic photovoltaic cell and uh, centralized solar cell, that is DSSC. Organic photovoltaic cells are known as POV. Let's jump deep into these topics. First, monocrystalline silicon solar cell. Okay. A monocrystalline silicon solar cell looks like this in an image given here. Uh, it converts more than 22% of sunlight into an electricity. So they are cut into wafers for optimizing performance and the shape. They are efficient. As they could be cut into wafers, they would be obviously space efficient. And they have a longer lifespan than any other solar cell. Let's see the next one. Polycrystalline silicon solar cell. Silicon is melted and poured into a square and molded, which is cooled and cut into perfectly square wafers. This is known as polycrystalline silicon, where silicon is melted and poured into a mold, which is a shape of a square, and they are perfectly cut into square wafers, and they are clubbed together and made as a polycrystalline solar cell. This solar cell is 13 to 16% efficient. The manufacturing process is very simple and cheap, as you have to just melt the silicon, pour into a mold of square mold, and perfectly cut into square wafers. They have lower efficient. As they take more space, they are space efficiently less. Low heat tolerance. They have low heat tolerance. Let's see what are thin film solar cells. A thin film solar cell is a second generation solar cell that is made up by depositing one or more thin layers of photovoltaic materials on a substrate such as a glass or a plastic or a metal. You just take a substrate or a base, which could be a glass or a plastic or a metal, and you keep on depositing one or more thin layers of photovoltaic material. The photovoltaic effect, which converts electricity light into an electricity, those materials you just keep on depositing on a substrate, which makes a thin film solar cell. There are of three types. Amorphous silicon solar cell. Only 1% of silicon is used in crystalline silicon solar cell that is required in amorphous silicon solar cell. So whatever the crystalline silicon is used, that 1% of silicon is used in amorphous silicon cell. Output of electric power is low. As you use a silicon very less in quantity, the output of electric power is low. So these are used in small applications like a pocket calculator, which would be having a solar cell which converts, give back the energy to the calculator. So cadmium telluride solar cell, low cost than conventional solar cell made up of silicon, as we use cadmium telluride. Efficiency varies from 9 to 11%. So can be manufactured easily. Cadmium is present in abundant amount. As cadmium is present in abundant amount, the manufacturing is very easy and a very low of cost. So next we will see copper, indium, gallium, arsenide solar cell. Semiconductor material composed of copper, indium, gallium, and say, uh, selenium is made up of these solar cells. Efficiency varies from 10 to 12%. Contains less amount of toxic materials. The toxic materials is present, but the amount of these materials is very less. And there are lightweight solar cells. As they are thin film solar cells, their weight would be very less. And of this is a solar cell which is very light and have efficiency highest, that is 10 to 12%. Dicentile solar cell. Dicentile solar cell is a low-cost solar cell. It is based on a semiconductor formed between a photosynthesized anode and an electrolyte. A dicentile solar cell is low-cost solar cell, which is formed on a solar semiconductor that is at the anode, in between anode and an electrolyte. Electrolyte is a solution which converts light energy or which conducts electricity through it. That is a material which conducts electricity between anode and a cathode. But these solar cells are placed in between these two and which acts as a solar cell here. Organic solar cell. Organic solar cell is a type of a solar photovoltaic that uses organic electronics, a branch of electronics that deals with conducting organic polymers or small organic molecules for conversion. Solar, organic solar cells are made up of an organic matter. This is a separate electronics branch itself where they deal with an conducting organic polymers for molecule conversion. Thank you.